Okay, Tommy, welcome to Take a Breath with Joe and Thom.
All right.
That's right. This podcast is for anyone who is trying to build a business, a career, a better life, a family, whatever it is you're trying to do, whether it's a hobby or something you're trying to make money at. It's taking something from 0 to 1 and beyond. So, Tommy, how you doing today?
Good. Happy Wednesday. Happy
Yeah.
fall.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
telling you, fall. I love fall, but the sunlight change really screws with me. Like week one, week two, your office is nice and bright. You're lucky you're next to that nice
Yeah,
sunlight. It
yeah, and
makes a
I don't even.
difference.
It
Yeah.
does, and I
Yeah.
sometimes I have like right now I turn my office light off because it does get really bright in here.
Right. Man,
Um,
vitamin D, man, it's I'm a believer, you
well,
know.
I was just. It's funny you
Yeah.
even say vitamin
Yeah.
D. I was just reading an article about how vitamin D is like the best anti-aging
Really?
like supplement. Yeah,
Oh,
it's good for everything, but that you
right.
get that from the sun.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a lot of stuff on the dock.
All right.
I want to start with the concept. So there's this guy, Jocko Willink. Have you ever heard of him?
Yeah, didn't you send me something over the
I
weekend?
think I did.
Yeah, I didn't watch it right away because I was inside of the 110,000 person whiteout, and it was freaking crazy up at
Oh,
Beaver
at Penn
Stadium.
State. Yeah.
Yeah, but I watched it Sunday and I loved it. Good, just good. I'm gonna
So
yeah. Go
so
ahead.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell. So basically, so this guy Jocko Willink, I don't know if you should read up on him. He's a
yeah.
really amazing guy. He was a Navy SEAL.
Yep.
Um, I think he was in that. No, he wasn't in the battle that movie was about, but he's been in famous battles, and he's the real deal. He's a Navy SEAL.
Right.
And now he's a motivational speaker, and he has businesses and stuff. And he has this concept that when anybody comes to him with a problem, and this could have been in battle, like,
Yeah. I
hey,
love.
boss, we don't have enough artillery, or we don't have enough, whatever, bulletproof vests. His first reaction is good, whatever it is. Like, hey, I didn't get a promotion. Good. Hey, I don't have enough money this month for my bills. Good. Hey, my girlfriend broke up with me. Good. And by saying good, first of all, there's that Stoic saying that I always say, amor fati, which is the same thing. Amor fati, like love your fate, whatever life is throwing you. The first
Right.
thing you should do is love it, you know,
Gracie.
and then react from there, rather than saying, "Oh my God, the world is ending. Why is this happening to me?" You say,
Right.
"Good," and then go on from there. Like you didn't get your new business isn't working out. Good. You have more time to get better. You have more time to figure out your product, or whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Right.
Good.
I love it. Yeah, no, I just watched the short clip you sent, and it makes so much sense because sometimes when things are going wrong, we overreact.
Yes.
And then when you overreact, it snowballs. And remember the old saying, mind like water. We always want to keep the mind like water
Mhm.
and be equivalent to the stone that you throw in. If you throw a little pebble in, your mind's gonna be like water. It's not as big a problem. If you throw a big boulder and you react the same way. But
Absolutely.
I love the clip you sent because it makes sense. You first say good, good. Let me embrace that challenge. Good. It gives me a chance to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Good. It gives me a chance to figure something out, become better,
Mm-hmm.
strengthen myself. And I'm going to have my son watch that clip because when I see the kids out there on the football field, the cross field, and they make a little mistake, they're like, their arms go up and it's like the world's coming in. No, good. You learn, you're 10 years old. You learn from mistake, you go back, you do better, you grow, and all that. It's a great.
Absolutely. Did I send you the Tom Brady one too?
No, no,
I'm
I
gonna
didn't
send you
get.
that one.
Okay.
So same idea, and it was this weekend too. I don't know why people send me this stuff,
Yeah.
but Tom Brady was given some talk, and so a lot of people don't know. Like Tom Brady is one of the greatest football players, if not the greatest of all time. Right? In
Right.
college, he sucked,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so he really was. He was like not even the backup quarterback on Michigan. He was like the third or fourth string, and So he was upset about it. So he gets on the football team in Michigan, and, you know, like the first string quarterback would get, like, in practice would get like 20 snaps. The second string would get 10. The third string would get 4. He got 2, right? And so he went up to his coach and he's like, you know, how am I going to get better? You know, you're only giving me 2 shots. Everyone else is getting all these other shots. He goes, look, you get 2. He goes, make those 2 incredible.
Yeah.
So Tom's like, okay. And that's what he did. And he talks about it. It's actually pretty funny. He would get his 2 times, but he would run out on the field and he would be like, all right, boy. Like he would be enthusiastic. He said he would treat it like it was the Super Bowl.
Awesome.
And he would get out and be like, all right, what play are we running, boys?
Right.
And those 2 were incredible. Those 2 became 4, and then 4 became 10, and then so on. So we talk about, like, if your job is to dig a ditch, dig the greatest ditch that anyone has ever seen.
Right.
Don't complain. This is beneath me. Right. You know, prove it that it's beneath you. Yeah. You know,
right. I love it. Yeah. I mean, it's there's a lot to that, you know, just chance favors the prepared, you know, just all that, you know, and putting your best foot forward at all times, you know, is important, because you will miss opportunities if you are paralyzed or you don't. So send me that clip.
I will. And so, speaking of opportunities, you know, I know one of our old mentors, drilled it into your head, but you have drilled it into my head. And I think this is a good thing to talk about too, when you're in sales and you don't know what direction to go in, every day is a clean slate basically. And you are always in my head, like, dude, pick up the phone.
Yeah.
So what is your philosophy around there?
Well, I guess it was one of those weeks when I was just feeling like, I mean, I was either paralyzed from too much coming in. Maybe it was a little quiet. I had a blank canvas. I was trying to turf up things. I don't know what it was. And I heard, Wayne's voice in the back of my head, because I was feeling a little, just a little stressed. I probably ran in the morning, did my breathing, and I'm thinking to myself, why am I feeling this way? So what I did is I looked at my phone and I randomly picked somebody, one of our clients or a prospect, I think, and I dialed. They picked up. We had a fantastic conversation. That 15-minute conversation boosted me for the whole day. And it's just a reminder that if you are feeling, pulled apart, lost, frustrated, pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Just pick up the phone and things will change. Things aren't going to just happen, right. And you pick up the phone, whether it's a customer or prospect, whatever. It could be a good conversation, could be bad. I saw this post on LinkedIn, Kristen over Cray, and I loved it. And she said, a Monday reminder, no just means the next opportunity. And I just thought that was cool,
I have something, actually, it's funny you say that, because right before the call, I wrote down, so you and I, when we get a lot of no's, we're always like, all right, we're close to a yes.
Yeah. I mean, the percentages are on our side. Yeah. We're like, okay, yeah. We can almost feel it. We're like, okay, who'd you talk to? Well, that was the wrong audience. Okay. What did he not like about it? Oh, that makes sense. And they were like, all right, well, keep ticking, keep calling, keep doing. And I go, Joey, Thursday, you're going to close a deal, or Thursday, you're going to get a sign up. And it's like, it's clockwork, but it's not a mistake.
Yeah.
It's not a mistake that happens.
Yeah.
We understand our formula. We understand our audience. We understand our message. And
sticking with it. Yeah. I mean, my God.
A lot to be said there. Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, so many times I hear of people who are trying to grow or even start a business, a startup, right. And they hear a couple of no's and like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
your skin's not very thick, are you? Yeah. Oh, thick skin, man. We have it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love the no's. Like we talked about this too. I'm more afraid of a prospect that's like, I love it. We're going to make money. We're going to roll out $1 million, slow down. I love the ones that challenge me, to the point where the value surfaces up. And when the prospect is challenging me, then we're both qualifying each other to the point where by the end of the conversation, it's either a yes or no, because we've qualified each other to the point where we've created the value. Mm-hmm. Now, when somebody's like all excited and they're just like a lot of lip service, that's when I get very nervous. I'm like, slowly roll. Let's start here. And let's see if it brings you value. Tell me if it does or doesn't. And then if it doesn't, let's talk about why it didn't. And then you go from there. But yeah, we talk about that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, these are good things to talk about, and just good reminders as you're, in the weeds. I mean, as an entrepreneur, I mean, we've talked about it, but we've crossed so many chasms. I mean, we have more chasms to cross, but like we've crossed some dark. Good. Exactly. I mean, exactly. No, you're absolutely right. It is good.
Because when you feel the cross, and you can feel the cross, when you cross those mini chasms, I'll call them.
Yes.
That's a good feeling. You can't cross them unless you're inside it. Mm-hmm. You are inside it every day. But while
you build upon it.
You build upon it.
Yeah.
You got to step away when at the right time. You got to breathe at the right time, and you just gotta stay focused and onward.
Absolutely. One of the things that is another difficult concept for a new business, especially in software. I guess it's for any business really, but we know software, so I'll talk software. Where, like even a tool like Merged Analytics is a B2B tool. I mean, any business that has a website could use it, right?
Right.
But we've learned through experience and through, let's say nail it to scale it, or even crossing the chasm, actually more crossing the chasm. Right. They talk about how important it is to really conquer a vertical. Right. An industry, or a vertical within an industry, and when you start a business, you're like, well, why? Everybody could use this,
right?
But when you're everything to everybody, you're nothing to nobody. We talk like that, and there are benefits to really getting into a vertical. Like we work closely in the AEC world, architecture, engineering, commercial construction. And the benefits there is these people talk to each other. Hey, what are you doing for this? I use this company called Merge Analytics, and that is the benefit of concentrating efforts in a vertical when you're growing your business. And so anything.
Well, yeah, I mean that absolutely. And audience, don't think finding your vertical is an easy thing.
It's not.
Because it's a roll of the dice. You throw, sometimes you throw things at the wall. It's not a perfect science. But when you start penetrating your vertical and you start becoming aware of the vertical and how they respond to the product, it can be exciting. And like the AEC world, they have such a need, especially on a basic level with what Merge Analytics does for that early engagement intelligence. So as we're penetrating the vertical, not only are we getting referrals and it's growing locally and even, statewide and nationally, we started to talk their language a little bit, like I was on a presentation last week. And I had called my contact up. He introduced me to the guy that I had to sell, and I called him up and I said, how do you think things went? And he goes, you nailed it, on all these points that are so important to our industry. And it was really about the early engagement. Mm-hmm. So that told me that not only like we've been inside it so long, the vertical is almost in our DNA. But we're speaking truth to the vertical, and we're pulling up value quicker. And then the most exciting thing is when you do penetrate that vertical, then it's starting to organically grow, and there's a word of mouth. We were on with Livy from Active Campaign. You asked her, they've rolled out their software to 185,000 companies globally. How did you do that, Livy? Word of mouth. word of mouth, fantastic. We're starting to get that word of mouth. But if that's the answer, then we're headed in the right direction. Yeah.
That's
So,
exactly what I was going to say.
yeah.
185,000 companies for an email marketing tool. And it was word of, we asked her the question, how do we scale our business like that? She's like, referrals.
She's legit, man.
She is legit, but referrals. And the only way you could really get referrals, well, that's not the only way, but a great way to get referrals is to spend time within an industry. Lawyers talk to other lawyers, dentists talk to other dentists. They all have these conferences. They all talk to each other.
Right.
And if you make it, some inroads into one specific industry, that's a big deal.
Yeah, we saw that 20 years ago when G2X, developed the roundtable for insurance companies, and you and I were kind of like, what's going on there? And it made sense. They modified it. They could sell to other insurance companies, and that was kind of an early lesson learned, 25 years ago. Yeah.
It was. We saw, we saw it firsthand. And you're right. But another thing, and more about, we talk about picking up the phone, and that works, but it really works when, it has to be something warm, or they know you, or, already. I think not have to. Cold calling is a tough gig. But we talked about this, but I think about when Hillary Clinton ran against Donald Trump. Right. She was made into, it seemed like she had a terrible personality. She seemed cold. There's a lot of things that the media portrayed about her, right? And then she lost the election. And then she went on Howard Stern.
Yeah, I remember.
And it was fantastic. It humanized her.
There you go. That's the point I was going to get at. Humanized.
It humanized her. And to the point where I'm not so sure, like, if she would have done that interview before the election, it made me, like, I think I'm, judging of, based on what she said, how she got into politics, what motivates her, what she's trying to do. She sounded amazing. It was amazing. She sounded like a great person. One of I never saw her like that ever.
Right.
And which brings me to the importance, and we've talked about this a lot, which brings me to the importance of B2B podcasting.
Right.
I think that's what this, like, what you and I are doing right here. I think that's, and we've seen it, and it's proven, really. But people, because nobody likes to be cold called and, put on the spot. Hey, this is Joe Singer with Merge Analytics. Do you have 5 minutes? No, click.
Right. Right.
But if you could watch Joe and Thom of Merge Analytics, of two entrepreneurs who built this business from nothing and going on year 5 and actually having success, and let's find out, and they have kids, and they Thom was a wrestler and Joe was a wake surfer. You start like, you know what? I want to hear more from these guys. I want to, it sounds like they're running a pretty cool company type of thing. And
totally, I don't agree.
Yeah. I don't think that existed before this.
Well, I agree. And that's one point I didn't bring up with just picking up the phone. When I pick up the phone, it's typically not a cold call. Right. But it's kind of getting me out of that rut. And I want to talk to a prospect or somebody that may have engaged with our brand or a customer. But we've kind of gotten to the point where we're not picking up the phone enough, and we're relying on emails. So you start to build a relationship through LinkedIn, and then that LinkedIn contact graduates maybe to your CRM or your ESP, and you're still kind of going back and forth. It's when you pick up the phone and you do start talking about Johnny playing ice hockey and all that, where you humanize. And Liddy brought this up too, is you start humanizing that relationship. And that's important, because it goes from this LinkedIn profile to a real person. And that is what podcast does as well. We both know that we don't get a ton of likes or shares or whatever that, but we know people are watching, because we have friends that come up, or we go to meetings. They're like, that was a great podcast, or I learned something, or you should talk about this. I'm like, awesome, thanks, you're tuning in, and it really tells people who Joe and Thom are. It just does. Yeah.
Well, and specifically about LinkedIn, this is an important thing. What you just touched on, I think by accident, but it's good. LinkedIn's a funny place. A lot of times, you'll post something and someone will like it just to get in your algorithm, just to link in with you, just to link in with other people that have liked what there's all sorts of, a like on LinkedIn means a lot more than a like on Facebook. Like people like, no, I should like this guy because this guy's important and this guy can introduce me to this. And then, so like, I look at likes very suspect. However, having said all that, you need to still post because exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
I could go to my kids' games. I can go to a party. I can go down to the beach. People see me and they're like, hey, I love that talk you had with Livy Wong from Active Campaign. And my response is, why don't you give me a like? And the problem is what I just said. If I like it, then someone else who's trying to grow their network sees the like and then tries to interact with me somehow. So a lot of people like to consume content on LinkedIn anonymously is what I'm getting at.
Well, yeah. And when in doubt, post.
Just post.
When in doubt, post. Don't like put too much stock into likes. I think you can put a level of stock in on LinkedIn, just like anything, when there's engagement, when there's smart comments and there's another comment and people are starting to have little discussions. That's when it really makes sense to that core group. But yeah, I mean, don't put stock into like, it's like putting stock into clicks.
Right.
I mean, click, what the heck?
Well, right.
What's a click worth?
Well, especially if they're by a bot, know.
Yeah, there you go.
But anyway, that's what we had on the doc today. Do you have oh, we didn't do recommendations, actually.
I have a couple recommendations. I just finished the book How the Mind Works. It was intense. Steven Pinker, and basically he kind of reverse engineers the mind and really dives deep into just how the mind works, from feelings to why you do things, and just strap in your seatbelt, because I kind of got lost in certain ways, but it rounded out nice. And there's a chapter in there about like the treadmill, happiness treadmill, which I really, really enjoyed. That's kind of what turned me on. I wanted to kind of explore that, but it's like, it's metaphysical. He really peels back how the mind works. And it's kind of like when you're feeling overwhelmed and you kind of look at the stars and you just like, yeah, I'm pretty small. You start learning how things work and why you do things. And you're like, wow, that's pretty cool. So I just finished that. I'd recommend it. It's not a quick read. It's not an easy read. So that, and then one more recommendation. A couple weeks ago, my Keurig broke, and I did not buy a new one. You got my head. I'm not going to waste plastic anyway. Yeah, ridiculous. I got a bunch of K cups left. I got to give them out. But so I was like, I was going to I was doing some pour overs, and then I was going to Starbucks coffee, and I don't love Starbucks. They were inconsistent. They're always like guilting you in for a tip, so you're paying like $5 for a little cup of coffee, tall cup of coffee. I'm like, crazy. I'm walking out and it's never the same. I'm like, I got to do something. I got to figure out my coffee situation at home. And somebody said, hey, have you tried the unlimited sip at Panera? I don't know if you have a Panera by you, but we do. I've got like 4,
so do we.
But for first of all, the first 2 months are free. They're free. So I've been having free coffee every day, free tea every day for the last couple of weeks. And for $11 a month, you can get coffee, tea, lemonade, soda, whatever you want. You just put in your app. I go in, I pick up a cup, I go in, I pour my coffee, and I walk out. So it's like equivalent to it's like 30 cents a day or something crazy. And I was like, thank you. I couldn't stand Starbucks anymore, you know. But Panera, I thought the Panera, it's called the unlimited sip cup.
I like
And
it.
I live blocks from it. So it's easy peasy.
Perfect.
You
It's
know,
good reason to get out of the
yeah.
office.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm forgetting the name of it. I'll put it in the notes when I post this. But there is a documentary on Netflix about people who live to 100. And they're called, you know, and they're in like these blue zone, what they call blue zones, where a lot of people in that area live to 100, centenarians.
Interesting. Yeah.
And one was like Okinawa, Japan. One was Sardinia, Italy.
Okay.
There's one right outside of LA. Like there's all these different spots.
Interesting.
Some are in mountains, some are at the beach.
Right.
So they basically study, you know, like in Sardinia, for example, all they eat is like sourdough bread and cheese and what, you know,
Olive oil.
you would think that they wouldn't be healthy, but there's something in the sourdough bread. There's some sort of yeast that they make, that they use that lowers your blood sugar so that they have healthy hearts or whatever. And it comes down to not what the food is, but how the food is prepared and the ingredients. You know, in this country, everything's, you know, factory, you know, processed bullshit.
Yeah.
But so it's the food and mostly how it's prepared. A lot of these places, like Sardinia, for example, were very hilly. So people were, you know, had to, not that they were working out and conscious about working out, but because of where they were, they had to walk up steep hills, and just as a result, they're healthier. So it was what you would think: food, ingredients in the food, how it's prepared,
Probably how it's hunted too.
exercise. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Exercise, but the biggest thing was connection with people.
Interesting.
And even those three things are even bigger than genetics. I mean, genetics is important too, but they didn't really focus on genetics.
It's a great post-COVID message, you know, because it is time to reconnect. And we had some pluses in COVID, but I think some of the connection, the lack of connection really affected a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
You know, depression and a lot of drinking and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great post-COVID message and a reminder to get out there and connect. Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
So I forget the name of it, but it's on Netflix.
I'm looking for a new watch. Yeah.
Well, the other one I watched, did we talk about this? Was the other one, the Bob Weir documentary?
No,
it's not about Jerry. It's about Bob, and I'm Bob. I love Bob. Jerry, but I
ran into Bob. You know, I ran into Bob Weir.
That's right. You told me
this 2 AM club in Mill Valley.
Yeah, you told me that. Yeah. And he is an awesome guy, and you know, he wrote the song, the other one, that's a Grateful Dead tune. But anyway, I recommend that. Yeah,
cool. I love it. Awesome.
All right, Tom. Well, this is a good time to stop. Have a good rest of your day, and you know, keep on doing it, dude.
Cheers. See you, buddy.
All right.